And we're back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the sixth installment of the Igor and Big Head podcast. My hoodie is doing a little droopy drop right there. Had to quit the quick adjustment, but we're back, as Rhino said. And Rhino, I'm getting to the point I don't think we're ever going to be happy on this show, at least not this season. Just pain. We start a podcast about football. I named my dog after a football town, and nothing. Absolutely nothing. Instant reactions, Rhino?
Well, I was really excited to. It's like reopening a deep cut in the gut every time we go to film this podcast, because I'm like, finally get over my weekend, and then Tuesday, 10 minutes before we film this thing comes around, I'm like, oh, I got to think about what happened again this weekend. And it's sad. But with all that being said, do you think Florida State and the Jags both win on the same weekend at all this season?
Statistically, I think it's an incredibly low
I think there's no
chance.
shot. I think there's no shot.
There's not going to be very many games won, period. At least, definitely not the Knowles. I still have a glimmer of hope that the Jags turn it around, but there's a lot of, other factors there organizationally that concern me more so than with like the play on the field. The play on the field for the Knowles is just terrible. We'll get into all that, Rhino, but let me just take a moment to say, once again, folks, you know the drill. We're brought to you by Tipton Tree Company. I didn't get a chance last week, but perfect timing to be sponsored by a tree service company. Obviously, Megastorm came through. Thoughts and prayers with all of those affected. But call Tipton Tree Company, folks, if you need, excavation of lumber on your property. I know a guy. So reach out, folks, Tipton Tree Company. And Rhino, I'm really hoping the software removes the squeaks right now. That'd be great. On the other hand, Rhino, I did want to switch it up a little bit today, and I did want to. It's gonna be bad. The software can't remove this noise. She's going ham.
Doug Peterson chew toy.
Yeah, this is just otherworldly right now. She's going ham. I want to do something a little different this week, Rhino. I want to jump into some questions at the beginning of the show. One of them I just loved so much that I needed to address as soon as possible. The other one I feel like is a good kind of conversation piece, right? So let's jump right into it here. First off, I tend to respond to people when they submit these questions. And this one, I responded, Hall of Fame question, bro. And that question comes from Connor Duffy. He says, given that Andrew McBride was set at plus 400 for the first annual Burt vs. AMAC case race, do you think we'll ever get a chance again to bet AMAC at that value in future case races? Rhino, give me your instant reaction.
I think 100%.
Sure, bud.
Burt,
sure.
So if y'all don't know how the case race went down, I got a call from Andrew sideways. He was holding his phone upside down talking to me about how he beat Burt in a race. We called Burt over. Turns out there was some throwing up involved and stuff, and Burt got a little sidetracked.
That's even more embarrassing.
I don't know. I think the value's still there with AMAC. He can put him down, but I don't know. It could have been a fluke performance. There's a lot of stuff in the air in Buffalo. It was a weird weekend for Burt. So
listen, I'm value at minus 400. Okay, that's what people don't understand. You're getting 800 points of value on me in this inaugural case race. They don't get that value is never going to be there again. And here's my answer, Connor and Rhino, you son of a bitch. Here's what happened. Okay, everyone knows what happened. I dominated. Burt threw up. It's embarrassing. There was like a little baby barf, right? Like just right on the floor. I literally go, Burt, do you want to concede? And he didn't even have a chance to answer me before he foam barfed on the floor. It was one of the most beautiful interactions I've ever had with the guy. But here's another little caveat, a little bit of sprinkle of some, tea maybe, and a little bit of back history, I go, Sunday tradition of sorts, for Jags away games, has always been me and Camber, going to Taco Lou and then watching the game. And sometimes people would join, but this year Bert has joined every time. So we go to Taco Lou, Bert's sitting down there. Oh my God, dude, this dog is going
You gotta
insane,
take
folks.
it.
My apologies. She'll fall asleep eventually. Um, and, we're walking out of Taco Lou and, the case race comes up, of course. And I'm like, Max, I really just think I have your number. I think I have Bert's number in just any type of competition. And
Yeah.
he'll admit it too. He did admit it, Rhino. He admitted that I get this look in my eye whenever I want to challenge Bert. And it is whenever I challenge Bert to a competition, I get this look in my eye and I know I'm going to win. And I do every time. 2-0 boxing. I swear the last like 10 times we've gone one-on-one pickup, I've dominated. Drop step, spin move, put him in the dirt, soft left hand off the backboard. And then I dominate him in the case race. That's 3 different arenas, Rhino. Like
I
what can you
think
rebuttal there?
you gotta go the classic way to solve all arguments, improve your dominance. It's a quick scope Call of Duty for sure.
See,
One on one.
that I'll get cooked, but I'll still give my best shot. I'll
I
admit I'll get cooked there.
I want another case race on
Sure.
not a Jags game day. Bert's a Colts fan. It
Right.
wasn't he
Bad
was
juju.
the Colts had already lost that day, I'm pretty sure that you guys did it. I want Bert. It needs to be nothing involved. We just need Andrew and Bert to sit down and do a case race. We can't have any side distractions. And if that's the case, I think I'm putting your odds at plus 200.
Still, the dog is a crazy take from you, but we did say it's
Bert's
every boys trip. We're gonna
coming for
do this.
vengeance. He's coming for vengeance. So
No, dude, I've got this strategy that is never before seen. And I'm telling you, dude, I won't lose. I won't lose. I promise you. But we'll move on from that. Great question, Connor. That needed to be addressed immediately because I don't think we gave that enough justice last week. I was sick.
yeah,
We had 4 people on the show. It was weird. It was a lot going on. Not enough time to really get into the stuff that matters, like me dominating Max in a case race. Um, the second and final question to really get the show going, right? Just set the tone for the show. Comes from Gabe. He's already a Hall of Fame question asker on this show. Connor just entered the Hall of Fame with that question. He says, "Is it time to fire Doug Peterson?" Parentheses. "Wasn't going to send this in this week after the response last week, but Gmail's AI predictively wrote it for me, so why not?" I don't think today, Tuesday, October 1st, is the day to fire Doug Peterson. And I say that because we're 4 games into the season. I alluded to it at the beginning of the show. There are some real issues right now. There's some real issues right now with Doug and Press and, maybe Trent and there's a weird vibe. It feels like there's something under the table. So no, right now is not the time to fire Doug Peterson. After the London trip, might be another story. Rhino?
yeah. No, I sort of agree with that. You can't fire him this week, and then after this week, we're literally just getting on a plane to fly to London after the
Right.
game. And then we're there for 2 weeks. And then at that point, the season's halfway over, more than halfway over. So it's like, I don't think there's anyone in our organization that's going to step up and be a head coach. Um, so I at this point, I think we just go with it to the end of the season. Doug's basically like he's fired himself. He
Yeah.
doesn't like you can hear it in his voice.
His
He's
press
just
conference, dude, was so depressing after the game.
yeah. He just like gives you nothing to hope for. The Jags just I mean, we do this thing where we decide to play half our season in London and you can't really make many management moves over there. Except the fact that, and then Shad Khan's going to be happy sitting on his bonbons because all the money he's making by sending us to London. So it's
Fucking
just,
bonbons.
I think it's, he's not getting fired this season just because I think the organization as a whole, like, I don't think anyone could really step up into that role.
Right.
And then also, too, like, at that point, like, when we get back, we have a bye week, and then it's just like, all right, the season's basically over. So
Right.
just might as well ride out with it. So
And a couple things there, Rhino. Ryan Nielsen was at the top of my list for interim head coach. I don't want him anywhere near my players on the offensive side of the ball.
I strongly agree.
I mean, the guy has literal rocks for brain cells. But
Yeah,
anyways, you know, Doug throwing the players under the bus is just an absolutely awful. It's you know, when you look up bad coaching situations in the dictionary, it is Doug Peterson's press conference answers after the game
yeah,
Sunday. I
it's
mean,
bad.
textbook lose the locker room, lose the fan base stuff. Now, the eternal optimist in me is like, okay, we get a dub against the Colts. Then who do we have? Bears and Patriots in London, Rhino?
Yeah, but
Eh,
it doesn't matter if we get a dub against
no,
the
no, but listen,
Colts.
listen, listen. We get the dub against the Colts at home. By the way, Trevor's 3-0 against them at home. Then this is just the eternal optimist in me. This is not reality. Then we go to London and we get two dubs, right? And that time
As
of what
as we're talking about this, Doug Peterson loses the locker room notification.
really
It's nuts. Um,
eternal optimist, right? This is eternal
yeah,
optimism. We go to London, we get the two dubs, and you know that heals the team a little bit. Winning always helps. You know, you get away from the States, you're in a hotel together for 2 weeks, it's beautiful, you're going out, experiencing London, whatever. Um, and you know, you come back, maybe revitalized, you get the bye week, you get healthy, you get some time away from the facility, and we go. Now listen, if we lose to the Colts, and then I'm going to give the Jags one more week after that, right? So we're 0-5, we're the worst team in the league. If we go to London and lose to the Bears, it's over, dude. Like our season's over. Doug's for sure getting fired. London is all that No, I think this Colts game matters. I think he has to win this
Doug,
game and then look competent in London for him to keep his job. I do. So that's my
Doug,
take on Doug.
yeah, Doug, don't even get me started. It's just like I just pulled up our schedule, man. We go over to London after this Colts game, not little, big Colts game this weekend.
Right.
We go to
Huge.
London. We come back. We get the Packers, who now have a healthy Jordan Love. I think they're going to be even better than I thought. Then we get to play the Eagles on Sunday night. That's going to be awesome. The Vikings, who no one thought the
Best team in the
Vikings would
league.
be good.
Yeah.
Then the Lions, then the Texans again, and then oh wait, we finally get to play the Titans to right the ship.
Yeah.
And then we go Jets, Raiders, Titans again. Like the back half of our schedule is just so easy. Like I don't understand how we didn't get one of these games where maybe we could get like do a little something at the beginning of the year. Like
We
we
needed to
came
win the
out just
Texans game.
bad.
We needed to win the Texans game in a really bad way, and we
We
didn't.
needed to win the Browns game. The Browns are hot ass.
Yeah.
The Dolphins game, the Dolphins are hot ass. Like we needed
Yep.
to win all these games. Like we should
Yeah.
have won all these games.
Dolphins game, yes, we needed to win that game for sure, but that's their offense at that time was just a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. I almost get that game more so than I get or not almost, I get that loss way more than I get the Texans loss. First game of the season, weird scheme stuff. Tua's healthy, Tyreek 80-yard touchdown, longest of his career, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's a big game this week. Then London. I'm kind of excited because I'm an early riser. I get to watch the Jags early in the day for 2 weeks in a row. But that's besides the point. We'll probably touch on the Jags a little bit more later in the show. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So then next, this is basically a direct shot at me from Gabe. I really liked Trayvon coming off of last year, but it's hard to deny how good Hutchinson has been playing. Has your opinion shifted? Because everyone knows I was a big Trayvon defender and sympathist and, holder upper of Trayvon Walker. Has your opinion shifted on these two players after the first 4 games of the season? Yes. And I think it's not unfair of me to change my opinion. Aiden Hutchinson is looking like Defensive Player of the Year material. And Trayvon Walker looks like a glorified, fourth on your depth chart, strong defensive end. And it hurts. It just hurts. We passed on Defensive Player of the Year type player for long arms and big hands. And it hurts. Rhino?
No, it's good to hear you finally admit that.
Hmm.
I've been against Draymond since the start. Not yeah, I've been a
Not
hater.
against, not against, but you would rather have
I,
like I'm not against the guy now, but I'd
no,
rather have
yeah,
Hutchinson.
I've always given him a shot, and it's just every time I watch Hutchinson, it's like, all right, I don't know why I'm continuing to do this. We blew that,
Yeah,
so
we
shout
did,
out
and
Jags drafting. It's
I
awesome.
mean, the dude had 10 sacks last season. Like, he could develop into a good, like, 8 sack guy that's just really good against the run, good for the locker room, good for the culture, but time will tell. Next question. How do you think FSU's performance so far this season affects them beyond the season? Well, literally right before recording this, we lost another 4-star wide receiver. I think that brings us down, Rhino, to like 8 or 9 guys in our 2025 class, which is probably by far the smallest class in the Power Four. Um, and granted, a lot of them are blue chips, but still, it's like we're losing these blue chips. I'm, long story short, I am severely concerned about the future of our program. I think somehow, some way, the Noles come off of their best season since 2013. The Jags come off of two, of our best seasons in the past decade, and two of the top 3 seasons of the past decade. And then literally the next year, both of those teams are in like Hiroshima. Fat Boy Bomb is like coming through the altitude right now, about to make impact, and like it's all gonna just blow up in everyone's face. And it's so jarring and like just frustrating as a fan that that's happening, and it doesn't feel fair, but at the same time, it feels exactly how it should be because we are poverty programs, both of those teams.
Yeah, I don't I don't think no one deserves to be a Jags and Knowles fan. It's like, dude, I keep it's like having a bad ex toxic ex girlfriend every week. They you just get let down, let down, let down. And what do I do every Saturday and Sunday? I
Show up with
wake up,
roses.
I text Andrew. I think we got this weekend.
Yep. Yep.
And then what happens? It's ruined. So I think with NIL, there's a chance that Florida State could turn it around somehow. Like, you never know what's going to happen. But with all that being said, it's
Here,
just
Rhino, here's the thing with money in Florida State. We have a gigantic stadium renovation going on. We have a football only facility that is broken ground. That's hundreds of millions of dollars right there. Okay. And keep this in mind, we only get like 40, maybe even less than that right now from the ACC, 40 million a year from the ACC every year. We've got Mike Norvell to a gigantic, fully guaranteed contract with a ginormous buyout. All of our coaches got raises going into this year. So even if we keep Mike, but we force him to fire his whole staff, like we are fucked, dude. We are fucked. And that's where the whole rumor with like private equity from the Middle East, in the offseason, we like looked into it to just see what the rate was. We're like, dude, we're gonna have to take out a loan with the fucking Saudis to get out of this scenario. Like, it just keeps getting worse and worse the more you look into FSU's situation. NFL's NFL. Like, we have good players on our roster. It's probably coaching. It's probably a mix of bad play and coaching and bad GM decisions, aka Gabe fucking Davis for the Jags. But FSU is screwed. Like, we
so
are so
you put the Jags. They turn this around before the Knowles turn it around.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000. Unless Luke Kromenhoek turns out to be like a godsend and just develops and he has like that superstar development trait. Like, unless that's the case, and that's if we can keep him after this year. I mean, we are so screwed, dude. We are so absolutely abysmally screwed. Like, we need a good quarterback. We don't need a, you know, no, we need a great quarterback. We don't need a good quarterback. We need an awesome quarterback like Jordan Travis to kind of elevate the faults of this team, and we don't have that right now. We might have it in the stables, but we definitely don't have it right now. Yes, Jags will turn it around. Or I mean, Jags are still like I don't know. It's a weird feeling. Like, I still feel like the Jags can go out and beat any team in the league right now. Granted, when fully healthy, like Josh Allen and Tyson Campbell being out and Foye and Devin Lloyd, like, that hurts a lot. But like on paper and like with our good players healthy, like I still feel like the Jags are a good football team, which I'm just being honest. Like that's not biased. I think that's most people would agree with that. We're just kind of incompetent right now. The Knowles are just screwed, dude. We just don't have good players. We don't have good coaching. We have nothing. So, yeah, it sucks, Rhino. That's why I'd like this question. It really hits a lot of good points. And then there's one more whenever you're ready.
Go ahead, fire away. No, I agree. I agree 100%. I don't know, man. The Jags didn't excite me again. Like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But I also don't think Houston necessarily played the best ball
They didn't.
played.
CJ
Like,
Stroud didn't
it's
play
just,
his absolute best game, you
I
know?
don't, yeah. I just like both teams. Like, I'm not looking forward to either. Like, I hate the weekends now. I look forward to working
I know.
9 to 5 on Monday through Friday. And
Yep.
then, like, when 5 hits on Friday, I actually get sad because
Right.
my weekend's just full of depressing things. So,
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Luckily, I've got a lot of travel coming up. Get my mind off of it. Unfortunately, the first trip after Buffalo is to fucking Tallahassee. Of course
yeah,
it is. So I'm going
dude,
to be. Yeah, we'll hit a little vlog action, Nick, and we'll throw that in the podcast next week. We'll take some
I'm
videos.
driving 10 hours to see the Knowles play.
Yeah,
So
round trip. Yep.
there
Six
better
for
be
me.
some other entertainment. Andrew might better wake up in a ditch or something. I need something to keep me entertained to make this worth it. But
I
yeah,
hope I wake up somewhere. That's
I'm
for sure.
driving a lot. Hey yo.
Hey, yo. Yeah, so it'll be, a really awesome next couple of weekends, man. It's going to be so great. Lastly, who is your NFL MVP and Heisman winner if the season's ended today? My NFL MVP as of today would have to be, I'm just going to say like Sam Darnold. I mean, it would be so cool if Sam Darnold like won the MVP. I think a month in, right now, he's probably winning the MVP. If I had to say anyone, it's probably Sam Darnold. And then Heisman winner, Travis Hunter. I mean, the dude, the storyline's perfect. Two-way player, Charles Woodson, gets the pick after already scoring an offensive touchdown in the game that you were at this weekend, Rhino, hits the Heisman pose. It's perfect. It's the storyline, Cinderella. It's Travis Hunter. No questions asked right now if the season ended for me.
Yeah, right now I think Travis Hunter is the easy answer. If they drop a few more games, then I'd consider maybe Cam Ward or someone like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it really just depends. Can you give the Heisman to a team that doesn't even make the bowl game? Right now,
But
Colorado's
they're winning. They're
on
winning.
track.
Yeah, they're
I
winning.
don't think so. I was at that UCF game. UCF is bad. They're bad.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how bad they were until I saw it. They're not good. Florida, shout out to our Florida fans. Florida, they're dogs in that game. I think Florida is gonna steamroll UCF.
That'd be
It's
interesting.
just it's UCF's bad. I don't know. I don't think Colorado still has a lot of the same problems. Like it worked out in their favor because UCF just matched up so poorly against them. But I think Colorado's going into the thick of their schedule coming up here soon. They barely got by a Baylor team too. So I don't know if they don't make a bowl game. Can you give the guy the Heisman? I don't think so.
Probably not.
That's the only way I don't. That's the only way I think he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And then my MVP up until last week was Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But now I'm sort of having second thoughts. I think if Patrick Mahomes can win in the situation he's in right now,
100%.
I think without a doubt, you look at his receiving core, you look at his offensive weapons, and he hasn't played out of this world to start off the season. But, I guess this doesn't answer the question because it's right now. But if he can keep winning the way he's winning, he's with it hands down. I'd even say he's probably the quickest GOAT ever. He's giving Brady a run for his money if he can three-peat with this team. So
I need to confirm that I didn't pick against them, but like I almost picked against them because I mean it just feels unfathomable that Mahomes could like continue playing as well. Yeah, I didn't pick against him because it's Mahomes. But
I
that's a
actually
game to keep an
did.
eye on. You
I
did?
actually
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
So
into it, but
yeah, there's
yeah,
one pick there, like it'll be
yeah,
so interesting to see. And they don't have Hollywood Brown. Travis Kelsey looks like a shell of himself. Rasheed Rice, Mahomes literally took out his ACL. Like it's just crazy,
yeah.
dude. If he continues to be good, you're right. I think he's already the quickest GOAT. Like I think people would consider him probably the greatest quarterback of all time already. Some people, maybe I'm one of them. I'm not exactly sure. Just from like an
I
Aaron
don't think he's
Rodgers type of
there.
GOAT,
Yeah, I don't think
not
he's
like
there yet.
right.
But don't get me wrong. I think Patrick Mahomes could easily be the goat here soon.
I mean, if
So
he gets to, I would say, if if they if they three-peat, he's the GOAT.
yeah,
No one's ever done that before. No one's ever three-peated. I mean, if they three-peat, he's the GOAT, dude. He doesn't need to get. He probably will still get to 7, but he doesn't need to. Like, there's a
yeah,
real conversation to be had there. A complete sidetrack on Patrick Mahomes. We're both glazing him so hard, but
I
he
know.
deserves it. He's a stud.
Yeah,
So yeah, there you go, Gabe. Thank you for the great question, sir. And now, we're gonna move forward to a little bit of college talk, I think, right, Rhino?
yeah. Now get into like regular scheduled agenda. Week 5 was good. That Alabama game was freaking sick.
Insane.
I was watching on my way home. I'm sort of sad that I tuned into more of the Florida State game than I did that game.
Same.
Um,
Well, they went up so
but
big so early. Like it was
yeah,
hard not to.
yeah. I just think I don't know what's going on with Georgia necessarily. I like they're a good team. Don't get me wrong, and I think this is they sort of remind me of the Bama last year, where like Bama, yeah, they had a rough start. Like Milrow wasn't going to be the starter right away. Like, well, Miller almost got benched, and it was just
He
like
did.
it was a
He sat
weird,
a game.
yeah, it was a weird season. I think we'll end up seeing this matchup again, whether it's playoffs or SEC championship. Um, I think that I don't know. It's just Bama that's a tough like the videos were sick. Such a tough environment to play in.
Yep.
But I think that it's just Georgia had a real slow start, and it honestly it killed them in the long run. But that game
Ryan
was
Williams
it was
might be the
awesome.
best. It was awesome.
Dude,
Ryan
yeah, if
Williams
you
might be
guys
the
get a
best
chance to
receiver.
watch Ryan Williams highlights, it was they're insane. I've never seen someone so he hit like a straight leg spin move
It was
and
crazy.
lost like 4 defenders. He was a
It was
stud.
insane. One of the, I
But
mean, that's going to go down as one of those plays that is in like college game day, college football highlight, hype mixtape videos for probably the next decade. Like that's one of
yeah,
those plays. It was insane. Rhino, I want you to talk to me a little bit about this got a lot of flack last week. The whiteout energy.
yeah.
Was it whack or was it swag? What was it this
I don't
week?
it did end up being a white out,
Oh,
but yeah, it
oh,
was
surprise.
yeah, it was just and it was like the NIL. It's something weird. It's like they can only make one game the whiteout, like put the name on whiteout. I don't even know.
Hmm.
But Penn State won that game. I think it also too it has something to do with big noon kickoff because they're trying to make these like big marquee matchups at noon. So
Right.
like Penn State's like in conference opportunities to have a whiteout
Hmm.
basically go down a bunch because you can't have the whiteout at noon. So I don't know. It's weird. I'd be
That is
interested
weird.
to see if they do it again, but yeah, it was. I didn't really get to watch too much of that game. Penn State, I heard, looked really good. I watched a little bit of highlights. I think their defense is just insane. So it
Yeah.
was. That was one of my things. The Penn State whiteout energy. So I
I'm
don't.
I'm ashamed to admit this, Rhino, but I admitted it to Camber and Bert at Taco Lou on Sunday morning. I was, you might still be able to hear it a little bit in my voice. I've been sick ever since, like I got sick in Buffalo, and I've pretty much been fighting it ever since. So finally, made it to the weekend this weekend, and I laid on my couch all day Saturday. I had football, on the screen, but dude, I've regressed to like my 14-year-old self, and I watched fucking Minecraft videos like all day. I watched Minecraft all day, and I'm ashamed of it, but at the same time, I'm not. Like, that is the most goated video game in the history of video games. Anyone ever
You
asked
had
me,
the itch. You had to.
I and you know dude, I have the Minecraft itch so bad right now, but no one will play with me. It's so frustrating. And
Well,
I
if you're listening and you're into Minecraft,
hit me up, dude. Let's make a
yeah.
server. Let's be great. Let's make this like a 10-year long server. But anyways, I had the itch, and I bring this up right now because yes, I watched football all day, but I didn't really watch football all day. Like, I was on my phone like a hermit, just like holding it right at my face and just like,
the
oozing Minecraft all
the
day.
people
So
don't understand like your connection to Minecraft. So I'm just gonna
it's
sum it
special.
up for you. Like
It's special.
we would go out on Friday nights in Tallahassee, our senior year, and this kid would stay inside and play Minecraft.
No, I don't think it was senior year, was it?
Yep.
Was it junior
Yep.
year?
Senior year. No, it
Really?
was senior year. Because I
Really?
remember we would be out and we'd be like, "Oh, where's Andrew? He's playing Minecraft
You're right.
on our couch." And when this
You're
kid would
totally
play,
right.
he would like uproot our apartment. I'm talking, he's moving the couches sideways. Like, he's got a whole pizza in the mic. Like, this kid, like, when he locks in at Minecraft, he
It's
locks in.
different.
So
I've
it's
never been more dedicated to the game, and I mean that figuratively and literally, than I have been to my. We must have had a banger world going on Xbox.
it's just the
Um,
most inconvenient thing ever because this kid will put a motherfucking couch in the center of the living room
yes, I will.
and take a TV off the TV stand just
Yep.
so it's in the optimal place where he doesn't have to move his neck. So
Listen, when you're gonna put in a solid like 4 to 12 hour sesh on the craft, you got to get comfortable. You got to get your food allocated at least 2 to 3 meals, hydration, snacks. Because listen, I don't doink anymore, so like that's not occupying my mind. I need to have everything prepared for me to be able to really lock into my craft, which is Minecraft. And yeah, goated. I mean, and dude, it's gotten so crazy. I was watching people are building these industrial factories, and oh god, it's just the best. We could do a whole episode on Minecraft. Maybe we will one day. Maybe we
nope,
will.
no shot.
Today's not that day.
Yeah, so
So
Kentucky beats Mississippi, Ole Miss. I don't know
talk to me
how
about that, Rhino, because I was watching. Who's that?
Kentucky just like Ole Miss looked bad. It was sort of a fluke game. I think they bounced back this week. Kentucky's just they suck, man. It's just they run the ball, and then right when you think they're gonna stop running the ball, they just keep running the ball. And then there was like some crazy plays down the stretch. I don't know. I was seeing how many high noons I could drink in a very short period of time when that was going on. So I didn't really watch too much of it. I think Ole Miss bounces back. I heard there was some weird stuff going on there, so I'm not too worried about Ole Miss moving forward. I think that they'll still be in the conversation for the SEC. And then Miami barely escapes Virginia Tech,
Now that
which
game I did watch, Rhino, and
was
it was great. It was a really good game. Cam
yeah.
Ward balled out, towards the end. It was a good game.
What do you think of that end with where they knocked the ball out and the guy's foot was out of bounds? I thought he possessed it, but I don't know.
I did too. There were a lot of weird calls this week. Like the crazy Vegas call in the Jags game where the cover was 5.5 and the safety would have covered for the Texans. Like there's been, maybe it's just like
I didn't
recency
even
bias.
think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe there's been recency bias for me, and I'm sure I say this every year, at least think it like, but there's been more strange calls to begin the season for both leagues than I can ever remember. But also, I'm such a fruitcake and a dodo bird brain wise. Like I probably just don't even remember what the first 4 weeks of last year was like. So, yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of weird calls. I agree with you on that. On the Miami possession, ruling. Just strangeness all around.
Yeah.
And my hoodie's doing the droopy droop thing again, right on cue. Yeah, just strangeness, Rhino. Very strange.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
And then I don't know how much we really want to talk about it. The SMU game, we suck. I'm more looking into Clemson this upcoming week.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. It's just Brock Glenn's playing, which is good, I guess.
Okay, I was talking to my uncle um, just earlier today, and he's like, "You finally got your wish. You're getting Brock Glenn," and I, not that I want DJ to keep playing, but I'm so down bad and I'm so out on Florida State that like Brock Glenn is, and I think anyone with a brain knows this, is not the fucking solution. He's just not the solution. He's not going to make our offense, click by any means. If anything, our offense is probably going to look worse.
Well, dude,
And
we can't run the ball. Our receivers get no separation.
right,
Clemson's gonna have a field day with them. They're gonna.
and we'll get into that during my locks of
True.
the week, folks. We'll touch on the Clemson game. I promise you.
I just I don't know. I think also too like yeah, DJ broke his hand, but like part of me is like, does DJ really want to play against his old team with this garbage team?
Listen, I have a very particular source for FSU football. I honestly I recommend it to anyone. And my one buddy who's as into like FSU recruiting and kind of like independent third party coverage of the team. Because by the way, War Chant, Rhino, I don't know how closely you follow it. Do you watch any like War Chant
I do here
or
and there. I don't get it
too
honestly
deep?
just makes me mad just because how bad we've been. Like I've
But
sort
just
of
like over
tuned out.
over the years, you
Oh
haven't
yeah,
tuned in as
yeah.
much as I have, though.
Yeah, no, not as much, but
And so War Chant, this whole offseason, just to give a little bit of a backstory, they're hyping up the team. This is the deepest team we've ever had, most athletic, fastest, most talented, all this shit. And then obviously the product on the field is what it's been. So you got to wonder what kind of smoke or what kind of shit they're smoking, right, at practice. But I have this outside source. It's called Double Fries No Slaw, which is a beautiful reference to our dear Guthrie's in Tallahassee. And he has he has sources inside the program. I'm not. It's probably like equipment managers or something like that. But he's got really good sources, and he said that DJ had a knee injury, early in camp, and he's kind of fought through it. And I believe it. Like he just hasn't looked mobile. He hasn't looked comfortable at any time. So I say all this. I don't think it's that he doesn't want to play against his old team. I really just think it's he's banged up, and Brock
oh
Glenn
yeah,
not
I
going to
don't.
save
I
us. I
think
can tell you that
I
much.
think he wants to play, but I'm like he definitely dodged a bullet by not playing in this game. Like I think out of all games, this is the one he would have had circled on his calendar. But after you start the season the way you do, like how is this the game you look forward to after being as bad as you've been? Like I don't think like he's necessarily like he's probably not happy about it, but at the same time he's like, all right, we're not good and we weren't gonna win this game and I would have made a fool of myself. So I think he did dodge a bullet there. So I don't
Maybe.
know.
I'm sure he would have loved to play them though. As a
Oh
competitor,
yeah, I
like
agree. That's what I was saying. It's just like
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's just I think I I don't think Brock Glenn's great, but yet again, the last time I watched him, he got steamrolled by Georgia.
Right. And he
I
missed
don't
like
know. I
most of
don't
last
know.
season with the hand
Yeah.
injury. So he didn't get like all the prep and the practice and everything. So I don't know. It's something, it's nice, it's new. We can't necessarily go in just waiting on DJ to make a terrible play. Like now it's Brock's turn to do that or not do that. So we'll see. But I mean, outside of that game, we highlighted the Missouri, Texas A&M game, ninth ranked Missouri, at 25th ranked A&M. That is a part of my locks of the week, just so everyone has some, preview status on that. And I think it's about time we get into the locks of the week, Rhino. You want
Yeah.
me to
No,
take us away?
yeah, the slate sucks this upcoming week, so that I mean, if you found anything good, let's hear it. So,
Yeah. So last week, another, two wrong, one right week for me in college football. Auburn did not win against Oklahoma, as I picked. and Georgia did not cover -1 as I picked against Alabama. But my golden horse, my Trojan horse of the season, Clemson, easily covered 22 against Stanford. What a call by me. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, Clemson is just, I can see through them like they're glass. I know who they are. I know what they're going to do every week. If I pick Clemson, you better fucking listen, folks, okay? That being said, Clemson at FSU this week. The line is just baffling at -14.5. Rhino, what have I been saying all year about first-time starters that are technically freshmen? What have I been saying all year? Fade them, Rhino, right? I've been saying that all year. And this first time, he's not a first-time starter, but it is essentially his first start.
Brocklin's got some good games on his resume. You think about it, Georgia. Just Georgia.
Yeah, good blowout.
Yeah.
So all that being said, that line is just crazy to me. I think either that's just not even close to what it should be at -14.5 for Clemson. Hammering them. Then I've got Missouri at A&M. I'm taking A&M -2. Missouri has had close games back-to-back at home with Vandy and Boston College, both of which, Boston College, of course, looked great against us, have not been that impressive looking outside of, Constellanos for, Boston College looking, like a budget Cam Ward. Not impressive teams to have, under one, possession score games, winning those games at home. So I'm taking A&M to cover -2 against Missouri. There is a big ranking discrepancy there, but I think Kyle Field, takes over in this game. And then Wake Forest and NC State. I just can't get away from NC State. It's kind of like my Arizona Cardinals of the NFL. I think their freshman quarterback looks, good. He's raw, obviously, but he's athletic. Wake Forest just looked so bad last year, and I don't think they have the talent to stick with NC State. Roster-wise, and it's at NC State -5. I'm taking that. I think that's a sleeper game that could get really out of hand. The over-under was pretty high on that. I think it was in the 50s. So those are my locks of the week. I've got, Clemson covering 14.5 at the Knolls, A&M covering -2 at home against Missouri, NC State covering -5 at home against Wake Forest.
Yeah. No, I think those are solid. I don't understand how the Florida State game's as low as it is.
Neither
and
do
I think I'm interested that Missouri and A&M. I'm not putting anything on it just because I think it's a weird game, especially with Missouri coming off the bye and they haven't really played to their fullest potential yet.
Yep.
But I do think that's A&M. They had a good win against Notre Dame last week. They're hot right now. So not Notre Dame, but A&M's hot right now. So I could see where you're coming from on that. My locks this week, I've been stuck at this 7-8, 8-8 in college football. I've just been breaking even.
You got to highlight what you did last week. I mean, that's a positive week for you.
Yeah, Oklahoma, Auburn. I don't know how that won. It's just like the pick six it's just there was a lot of little stuff to where it didn't go well for Auburn. I think Auburn's throwing in the towel this season.
They might as
Auburn
well.
also has lost me the most money this season. They have been horrible. I'm done with Auburn. You won't see them on my list for the rest of the year.
Fair enough.
BYU at Baylor, that was easy. I took the +3.5, but they won that outright, so that was a good bet. Arkansas, Texas A&M. Arkansas did cover that one as well too, so they're a good team. Arkansas's got a tough matchup this week though. They play Tennessee, and they're two touchdown dogs. I think that'll be interesting. I think it's Tennessee's first real test. That was a one on the slate that I was sort of interested in.
Same.
Arkansas's not ranked, so I didn't draw too much attention to it. But I don't know. Arkansas has been a sleepy. They've made me some money this year. But I don't know if I think they're in a letdown spot this upcoming week. But with that being said, I'll get into my locks of the week. Syracuse, UNLV. Syracuse are 7-point dogs here. This is a Friday night game. I'm taking the 7 points all day. Syracuse is a good team. They're really good on offense.
Kyle McCord.
Yeah. And
backdoor cover.
And UNLV, they won by 4 or 5 touchdowns last week. They also played at a FCS school. Syracuse will be able to put up with the points, keep up with the points here. UNLV really hasn't played anyone tough yet. I think Syracuse has been a little bit more battle tested, and 7 points I think is a lot. I think a lot of Syracuse's losses have come from bad coaching and just it's just been poor games like gameplay. I think Syracuse can do well here as long as they can hold up against the run. I think 7 points is I'll take that all day. So I'll take
Yeah.
Syracuse, the +7 there. Miami versus Cal. Miami is only 10-point favorites. I know this is a weird 10:30 game. Miami's traveling all the way to Cal for this. Um, no shot. Like I don't understand how this is the lines at where it's at. Cal is pitiful.
Yeah.
Especially Florida State almost covered -10 against Cal. There was a moment
Yeah.
in time where that line was -10.
Yeah.
Um,
Live.
I think Cam Ward, especially after the game he had last week, he's getting some backlash on the Heisman. This guy plays like an asshole. He likes to be a sort of just like nonchalant about everything. It'll bite him in the butt at some point, but I think he'll look real good this weekend. So I know it's a lot of travel for Miami. I know it's sort of a weird
That's probably why the
spot,
line's tight, if I had to guess, you know?
but I just don't. Cal was really bad, and
Yeah.
Miami's got a lot more talent than Florida State. So I don't know. I'm taking Miami all day there. And then I'm going a different route here. I haven't had much luck with the SEC, so I'm taking a team I haven't done worked with all year. I'm taking Indiana versus Northwestern. I'm taking the -13.5 with Indiana. It's a lot of points. Indiana
That
is
it is.
good. They've covered on almost every game they played. They're third in points scored per game. They're 10th in yards per game, 21st in pass yards, and 37th in rush yards, and third in third down efficiency. Um, I Northwestern's not good. Indiana's played a little bit tougher schedule as well too here. I love this bet. So I'm taking the 2 touchdowns here all day. So
I
those are
just
my locks of
love
the week.
I love how confident we are in our picks when you're sitting at 7 wins, 8 losses. I'm at 5 wins, 10
If you want
losses.
to
But it's
make
like,
money, you know who to follow. So,
you know who to follow here, folks. It's neither of us. So yeah, good picks. We'll see. And just so everyone knows too, like I've been placing the teasers. I just haven't been calling out my teaser shot. I've been waiting till like game day to place those bets. Haven't hit one since week 2. So stay tuned for the next one I hit. You'll find out first here on the Igor and Big Head podcast. We covered FSU, SMU, like not a whole lot to talk about. We got blown out. DJU's hurt. You know, we're really looking forward to Clemson. We've also covered that a lot. I don't really feel a need to dive back into it. I kind of just want to get right into NFL. And this is a good opportunity to, highlight. Rhino, this is the first episode, I believe, in like a month where it's just me and you, back to basics.
yeah.
But I do want to, put in a little bit of a little insert here, in the 48th minute of Tyler. He has a message for everyone to listen to. It explains why he's not here today. It goes through his locks of the week. And I actually like a lot of his picks. I love the way he laid them out. He kept it down to 3 per league this week, which is interesting. I think he's getting
Wow.
scared.
Yeah.
So roll the clip right here, and we'll see how Tyler shakes out this week with his picks, and hope to see him next week. So here you go, folks.
Hello, dear fans of the Igor and Big Head podcast. This is T-Dub. I'm taking the week off. I'm fucking pissed. Pissed at the Eagles organization. Pissed at Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts might be the biggest wash in NFL history. What a waste. Howie Roseman. What a waste, Howie Roseman. A lot of money. A lot of money for that guy. He's such a freaking waste. It's like, I can't even talk about it anymore. I first want to apologize to all the fans who took my bets this past week. I was a little intoxicated on the last podcast, and I feel like I made some quick decisions, especially in the NFL. Kind of felt pressured because I was the week ahead. But I'll be back next week. Pure excitement. I'll be ready to talk to you guys about how fucking shit your teams are and how good mine are. Except the Eagles, they're shit. Phillies are in the playoffs, so it's going to be a bender for sure. Here's my picks for the week, people. College football, I got Oregon minus 24.5 against Michigan State. That should be a lock. I got Syracuse money line against UNLV. Who the fuck is UNLV and who cares who UNLV is? They're going to lose that game. I got SMU money line versus Louisville. Done with the college football slate. Here comes the NFL. I got Jets money line against the Vikings. The Vikings cannot keep winning. It's not possible. I got Texans money line versus the Bills. That's a lock. That's a lock. The Bills lose. They're due to lose. They're due to keep losing. I hate the Bills sometimes. They're really annoying. Josh Allen is whatever. And then I think this is going to make Igor, Big Head, and the Hammer happy. I took the Jags minus 2.5 against the Colts. I think the Jags get their first win this week. There's no way that I can keep going this fucking bad for the Jaguars. That's my statement for the week. I'll be back next week. Go Phillies. Taking the night off. Enjoy. Have some cold ones for me.
And those were Tyler's picks. And now we are moving forward, folks, to NFL Lock Talk, NFL talk in general. Rhino, why don't you kick us off here, bud?
Yeah, I mean NFL a lot. We sort of got into it a little early here. My first thing from I guess the Vikings are legit. Like you said, Sam Darnold is could be the MVP.
Which is crazy.
I had them as like one of the worst teams in the league, which goes to show you how I don't know anything. But the Vikings are good. Another big win. They have another game coming up. Whoever they play this week, I think they have a real shot to win this one and go 5-0 here. Let me take a look here.
You talking about the
they
Vikings?
They play the Jets this week, so I mean, this is a spot where they could win and be 5-0, and then we're all looking like a bunch of idiots because we thought they were going to be terrible.
Now, spoiler alert, Rhino. Tyler feels differently. I listened through to his clip already. He's like, nope, Vikings need to lose. They're going to lose. I'm trying to do my Tyler impersonation. And they will lose to the Jets. So is that game at home? Who's home that game?
Vikings. I think it's interesting.
That is tough, dude. That's tough. Defense travels, though. Jets have a great defense. And that'll be a really good game. Is that a 1 o'clock?
Yeah. 1 o'clock, yeah.
Wow, that's a great 1 o'clock.
9:30. Well, hold up. Yeah, all right.
It's in London?
We're kicking off the London slate here.
Oh, yeah. That is weird. That is very weird.
Wow.
Interesting. Neutral
that's
site.
Nice. Wake up early, get some football.
Yeah. In Tallahassee, I'll be hungover. That'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. That'll be a good game. That is weird, though, that it's in London. You never know in London. So, Vikings are probably legit. The next thing, Commanders, like Jaden Daniels, dude, is a absolute stud.
So what I was getting at here with Jaden Daniels, you get a call right now, and they're like,
yes,
Trevor for Jaden, straight up.
Yes.
All right, 100%. I heard it on the radio, and I was like, oh, that's valid.
Yes.
I'm definitely taking it, too. I know Jaden's hasn't been in the league long, but I'm definitely...
At least it's potential. At least I can have hope. Like, I'm pretty hopeless right now. Like, for the first time in my life, I'm somewhat out on Trevor. Like, the thing with Trevor, though, he's shown he can be the guy. Has he done it consistently? No. He had a 20-game stretch there, until about week 12 of last season, where he really showed that, 20 games prior to week 12 of last season, he showed like he's the guy. Like, you felt like you were in every single game because of him, not in spite of him. And I just don't have that feeling for the first time. It transitioned from hope in the Urban Meyer year, the first Doug Peterson year. Then it turned into, okay, we got our guy. Like, we're going to give him that big extension. He gets hurt at the end of last season, played like shit. Now it's like, dude, I'm out. Not permanently, but I'm out right now.
Well,
like, he needs to show me a lot. The organization needs to show me a lot.
Where I'm at with him, he has the arm talent. He's a stud with the arm occasionally. I just think stuff's moving too fast for him in the NFL, and that happens. Like, not all guys make the jump from college to the NFL great. Like, sometimes, like, some people hit a point where it just moves too fast. Like,
yep.
I just think that might be the case for Trevor, and
Could be.
it's not like we're not putting the weapons around him. Like we have a good, our offensive line's not great. I
Oh, it's
think
bad. They
our
played better this week,
receivers
though.
could be better, but he has the weapons to make do. Like
BTJ is a superstar,
yeah,
by the way. He is.
yeah,
Christian Kirk played a lot better. Gabe Davis sucks. Losing Ingram, I think, hurts us a lot more than people will realize. Like, we went from there's been a lot of conversations on my phone since the game about this. We went from a dink and dunk, kind of like get our explosive plays in a weird way kind of a team to we're only deep shots, deep crossers, deep corners, deep posts, go balls, stop and goes. And I mean, we have the 7th most explosive plays in the league this year, and we're the only team that hasn't won a football game yet. So the two missed throws by Trevor were absolutely sickening and disgusting. Is that him being too fast because his brain is too slow, or is that him being broken because of injuries and O-line? I don't know. We'll find out. There's going to be changes made one way or the other. We'll see if it fixes anything. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And speaking of ass, the Eagles might suck, Nick. The Eagles might be really, really bad.
I thought Tyler was going to be on for this, but yeah, I don't think they're good at all.
Especially after how they looked in Brazil. I know
they're hurt. They do have some injuries they're battling with right now, and it makes sense. But
their defense is bad. Like, their corners are bad, and their scheme on defense is bad. And they got rid of their defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, and they just don't look good. That's a team, though, you let the scheme kind of simmer and marinate a little bit. You could see them getting a lot better throughout the season, which I do see them getting a lot better. But I mean, they look bad right now, dude.
I think the Bucks are legit too. So I don't know how much I'm getting into it, but it's just and I do think the Falcons, another one that they lost. Like I think the Falcons are legit too.
Yep.
That division that we were with the Saints, Bucks. I mean, sorry Panthers, but Panthers. And then who am I leaving out? Saints, Bucks, Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons.
That's a lot. That division's better than I thought that was going to be the worst division in football. And
hell of a division.
And now they're better than than our division, so that's awesome. So
yep.
But yeah, the Eagles haven't been great. And then too, so getting into this, we already got into it, but the Chiefs injuries, man,
crazy.
Like we were saying, if Patrick Mahomes can find a way to pull this off, I don't think without a doubt,
goated,
that he's the quickest GOAT of all time.
Yeah.
So
for sure. And I just have one more thing I want to say, Rhino, on general NFL talk, and it does pertain to the Jags, and then we'll get into locks and we'll finish up Q&A. But it is a unique feeling as a Jaguars fan where we are the only team in the NFL without a win. We have organizational strains and issues and drama going on. People are questioning if the quarterback we just gave $300 million to is actually the guy. We have tons of like frontline star player injuries on the defense, maybe the worst O-line in the league statistically, through 4 games, yet we're favorites at home. And, people aren't necessarily fully dogging us and like out on us as a franchise other than the fan base. Like, what other time in the history of being a Jags fan are we statistically the worst team in the league, but people still have hope in us? So that tells you something about,
because we're wearing the different uniforms.
It could be. I mean, that's at least a point right there. And I think I just bring that up because we are in a better place up until 4 weeks ago as a franchise than we have been really in my entire lifetime as like a lucid, like active Jags fan. That's why I think it hurts so bad is like we have the tools and the pieces and we've shown we can do it in recent years. It just sucks that we haven't won a game in fucking over a year. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Well, that's
where it's just like with how good we started, the playoffs previous, like it's just like where we're at with the coach we have, with the roster we have, we should be at a point where we are not dominating, but we should be winning. We should be winning a lot more.
We should be
And
2-2
we've
right
done we've done the exact opposite.
now. Yeah.
Like we have gotten everyone on our roster has gotten worse.
Yeah.
I would say there's
Yeah,
not an
100%.
area where I feel like we have gotten better in the
No.
past 3 years. And at the end of the day, like Doug can point the finger all he wants. That's a coaching issue. If
It
we
is.
haven't gotten any better in the time frame that you've coached, and we've actually gotten worse, and we're making
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. I think coaching's where this all starts.
It is.
I'm not coming for anyone's heads.
Well,
with the
him
jobs,
and Press
but
going under the bleachers and having a high school hookup after every game doesn't help anything either.
No,
It's abysmal, is what it
no,
is.
it's
And it
a lot of
hurts.
stuff needs to change, and like I don't think like there's not really much more blowing up you can do. We've already blown up,
Except for
like,
Doug DePress,
yeah.
there's a lot more clearly that he can
Yeah,
give
so-
DePress. I mean, it's insane, dude. It's insane.
Hey,
Yeah. So let's get off of general NFL talk. Let's
Yeah.
get into the locks. You heard Tyler's locks already. I had another just bad week in the NFL. And Rhino, you put that I got Jags at Houston -5.5. I did not get Jags at Houston -5.5.
Shit. Let me adjust that for you.
Yeah, so we need to. I'm now 2, and that seems wrong. That feels wrong. I'll have to go back and fact check this, but I am now 2 wins,
that's
10
probably
losses.
wrong.
That's probably wrong though. We'll
go
update
back
you
and
next
count.
week. Rhino, make a note of that. So I had Houston -5.5. Against Jacksonville, that did not hit. I had Buffalo at Baltimore. I had Buffalo +2.5. That did not hit. Pittsburgh at the Colts. I had the Steelers -2.5. That clearly did not hit. However, I did cash a big wait, I did hit a teaser this week. Folks. I lied to you. I completely hit a teaser this week. I had let me think. I had Auburn -6. That pushed because they lost by 6 on the dot. But then I hit 3 other teasers. I think it was 25 to win 90 or something like that. So I did hit a teaser. I'm 2-2 on teasers. So forgive me, folks. But all that being said, this week, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Give me Tampa Bay +1.5. Thursday Night Football, both on a short week. I think Tampa's got the grit that the Falcons don't. Kyle Pitts sucks. I don't think Kirk's Achilles can heal in 4 days. I think Baker's a dog. I think that team is going to go into Atlanta, and they're going to teach Atlanta about culture and cover 1.5. And I think they're going to win that game. Indy at Jacksonville. Indy +2.5. I mean, let's be real. It's an emotional hedge. It's good for me if they do cover that because I get some points back on Rhino towards our season-long bet. But if it doesn't cover, that means the Jags probably lost by 2. And that's okay. Or I'm sorry, that means the Jags probably won by 2. And that's okay. That's okay. We probably get some sort of lucky safety or something to win that game if we do. Then finally, Arizona at San Francisco. 3 weeks in a row. Rhino, I can't lose on the 3rd week, can I? Arizona +7. Give it to me. Arizona got blown out this week. San Francisco blew out this week. So due for a close, high-scoring game. Arizona figures it out. San Francisco regresses. I think Debo has a big game, but I also think the Cardinals have a big game, and I think that's going to be a close one. I think San Fran probably wins by a last-second field goal. Arizona at San Francisco. Arizona +7. Indy at Jacksonville. Indy +2.5. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Thursday Night Football. Tampa Bay +1.5. Rhino.
Yeah, love it. So this was a weird week for me. I last week I didn't do great. Browns versus the Raiders. The Browns are just god awful. I don't know how you lose that game. They're in big trouble.
They are.
They might be worse than the Jags as a whole. Just we found a way to lose that game. The Commanders versus Cardinals, that was a terrible bet. Jaden Daniels is him. And then I had the Bills of the Ravens. Ravens curbs out the Bills. It just like I said last week, the Bills were due for that. This week, I'm going. I said I wasn't going to do it ever again, but here we are. I'm doing it. Give me the Jags -3.
Wow.
There
You had a different line than I did.
Is it 3 right now or
Two
two
and a
and a half?
half. Take the point. Take the point. Put it in there.
I'm taking 2.5. I just we're the only team in the league without a win. We're wearing a different colored uniform. We're about to go overseas. It's one of those games where I'm like, all
Writing's
right,
on the
like
wall.
if we don't win this game, like I know I said it the past 3 weeks too. If we don't win this game, we're in trouble. But like now we're not even in trouble. It's chalked as a whole. Like now it's just like give the fans, give the people that love the Jags what they need right now. So I'm gonna
Yep.
take the Jags here. I know I'm gonna kick myself for doing it in the long run, but I think with the Colts injuries too, like I like us in this game.
I completely butchered my Indianapolis plus 2.5 take on like the Jags winning and us somehow or an Indy not covering. What I was getting at there is we're probably going to win by 3. You're going to cash your bet. I'm going to lose my bet. That's what I was getting at, and I did not articulate that well. Just wanted to clear that up for the listeners here.
Yeah, Andrew, I just checked. You are 2-10, my buddy.
Wow, excellent time for a comeback, folks.
In NFL. So, and then getting into my next one, Ravens and Bengals. The Bengals have been real bad this season. I know they're in a spot where they could probably turn it around. Like this is going to be a big divisional game. I'm taking Ravens minus 2.5 in this one too. The past 2 weeks, the Ravens have looked like the best team in the league. And I think that they'll continue that run. So I do really like the Ravens here. And then my last one, I said I wasn't going to do it. I hate doing it. I never ever bet against Patrick Mahomes, but I'm betting against Patrick Mahomes here. Plus 5.5 on a Monday night. Primetime
Saints
game.
are good.
Primetime game in Arrowhead. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. Oh, give me the Saints. I think the injuries for the Chiefs got to catch up to them at some place, and I think the Saints have been real good this season. They've played good football. Yes, they've dropped 2 games, but they've been in every game, and they have a good defense. I think their defense is going to not put up points, but their defense is going to hold Patrick Mahomes, our GOAT, to a few points.
My God.
So give me the Saints in that one. No one else take it. I'm going to take it alone. So
You'll die on that hill.
yeah,
I love it.
I'll take the
Good
Saints
picks.
alone. So
I don't hate your picks. They're bold. Like the Saints pick is bold. Jags pick is bold. Ravens pick is probably bold. Like division rival. I mean, it's the NFL. Any pick you make is bold. So I like it, Rhino. Let's wrap it up with a few questions here. I'm going to start off. This is forgive me if I'm wrong. This is a first time question submission from Louis Sulo, folks. One of the best bettors and ballsiest bettors. We'd be in Township in Tallahassee. He'd pull out his Bovado account and he'd have like $3,000 riding. And I'd be like, dude, we're in college. What are you doing? And then he'd hit. It was beautiful. He says, I've lost betting. It's very inspirational. Lewis says, I have lost betting on Kansas football and the Jacksonville Jaguars every week, and I'm going to do it again, ... Your locks, this is not a question. This is a statement from Lewis. Forgive me. Your locks for next week are Jags money line minus 145. We don't lose to the Colts at home. True. Rhino, Kansas money line plus 135. Arizona State is 3-1, but talent-wise don't have one position group better than Kansas. He finished off his message with a salute emoji. Lewis, I salute you, brother. That's a wonderful submission there.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas, I tried to make money off them at the beginning of the year, and it just didn't work. So,
yep.
If Lewis is doing it, I'm doing it. So
Yeah,
shout out, Lewis.
I've lost money on Kansas too, and the Jags, just about every week. One of those teams has lost me money. So I'm with you, Lewis. Next submission is from our good friend Jay Howell. He asked first, is Andy Dalton a better fit for the Panthers, and should Bryce Young consider requesting a trade? Andy Dalton is a better fit today for the Panthers, but Andy Dalton is not a player that you can rely on at the quarterback position past next week, if you catch my drift, Rhino.
I agree. It's just that the scheme that the Panthers play is just working a little bit better for Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton too. Like, you think about all the teams Andy Dalton's played for and started for, he's got a lot more experience. Bryce Young, like, he doesn't have the comfort to just go into a system, sit behind a good O-line, and make good decisions. Andy Dalton sort of knows what to expect, and I think that's one of the biggest things. I don't think Bryce Young's going to be a starter in this league. I think he'll be a good backup somewhere, but I think in a better system with a better O-line, I think Bryce Young can develop. It's just I don't think he's the one to bring your franchise out of the dumpster fire. So I think Bryce Young, like, we overlooked the talent he had in college, but this is another situation where this could be like Trevor. Like, some players just don't make the jump from college to NFL.
Now, I get what your reference is there, but those two are in completely different leagues. Like, Trevor has shown he can be good in this league, but I don't think Bryce Young has shown once, maybe a few throws here and there, that he can play in this league. Like, he just has not done that. He just hasn't done that at all.
But you look at Bryce Young's game too. Like, he's a mobile quarterback. He's like 150 pounds and
literally
4'5".
Yeah.
So it's like, I just don't see a situation where you can be a mobile quarterback in this league with that physique. But prove me wrong.
Yeah,
thanks for listening,
wrong.
Bryce Young.
Yeah. Next from Jay, with Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and this is a player I've never heard of, but I'm going to trust Jay on this. Britton Covey. Rhino, have you heard of Britton Covey? Britain Covey? I've never heard of him. But maybe he's like a backup that played this week. I didn't watch the Eagles game because I don't watch poverty franchises. But with those people out, is Dallas Goedert helping the team in any way possible? I mean, yes, but what the vibe I get from this question, Rhino, I think Jay's asking for fantasy advice. That's the vibe I get. Dallas Goedert is a great fantasy play this week. He's going to be the number one target if Devontae and A.J. Brown are out. Yeah, he's going to put up numbers. He's going to probably get 10 or 12 targets. What he does with that is another question. So does he help fantasy-wise? Yes. Does he help the Eagles win? No, because a tight end probably can't do that. Rhino?
I just think the Eagles are in such a bad spot with the injuries this year. It's tough to really tell. At the end of the day, they're gonna put up points. It's just Saquon is definitely just taking the majority of the workload there. I think Goddard's always a good play. I'm not confident in any receivers on this Eagles team besides Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Those are the only two guys that I feel like Jalen Hurts is really comfortable throwing the ball to. So it's going to stay that way. He proved it. He threw it a bunch to Goddard, but other than that, I'm looking at the Eagles stats right now. There isn't another guy on this receiving roster from last week.
Johnny Wilson, anytime touchdown? Is that a lock next week, folks?
Johnny Wilson I've been keeping my eye on Johnny Wilson here. In the past 3 games, he's gotten 4 targets, hasn't caught a single one of them. So shout out Johnny.
Shout out Johnny.
You'll turn
it
around here. But anytime touchdown might be good, Andrew. He's boosting the odds. So
or over receptions. Over receptions might be the play there too, folks. So stay tuned. Final question from Jay. He asks, has the addition of Nico Collins, or not the addition, but the development of Nico Collins, along with the addition of Stephon Diggs, helped out the Texans? I mean, yeah, Nico Collins I wouldn't say out of nowhere. Like, he was good last year. He emerged last year, but I mean, he's the best receiver in the league right now. He's like a prototypical 6'4", 215, has burners, great route runner, great hands. He's like what DK Metcalf wishes he could be. And then Stephon Diggs, like, kind of gives me the vibe of like a Tyler Lockett, like a veteran receiver that is just going to be where you need him to be. Still has athleticism in him, can still make the big plays, but he's not like that go-to one anymore. That's Nico on this team. And he's not necessarily like the big play guy anymore either. They've got Tank Dell and Nico for that. So yeah, I mean, they've got a phenomenal receiving core. It's pretty scary to deal with week in and week out. But I think the Jags did a pretty good job of that last week. They gave up big numbers, but they limited like the impact that had in the game. So
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I didn't really realize that, and I'll go in on the Texans too. Like their roster is insane, and I wouldn't say they really dominate like they should dominate. Like you look at that receiving core, like you got Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, who didn't play. He's a stud. Tank Dell's fast. He's good.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, like Tank Dell's out. Maybe we have some wiggle room for a bad receiver to come in here. Their wide receiver 4 is Woods. Like,
yep,
it's just
veteran
like
guy. Yeah,
they have a good receiving. I'm honestly pretty impressed for how bad we did with the dink and dunk, just bullshit offense that the Bills threw at us. Like how good we turned around. Yes, we gave Nico Collins 130 yards and a few touchdowns.
but that's gonna happen. You know.
Yeah, it's just like for how talented that receiving core is. Like they should be better than what they are. So
I mean, Stroud's throwing 250 a game. It's just a question of where it's going to. You know. Yeah. So yeah, good questions, Jay. You're the GOAT, brother. And then finally, I've got, I wanted to end on this question, Rhino, and I'm going to let you answer this one first. This is from, I'll put Camber in the Hall of Fame of question askers. He's had some bangers. He started off slow, but he's come back strong. We're going to wrap up the show with this one, Camber, and I think it's a very perplexing question that Rhino's going to have fun with.
Camber was at us executing people last week, so
right.
I'm tuned in right here.
Right. What happens first? Jags win a playoff game, or Rhino, do you have any guesses on what the or is?
I saw the question.
Oh, or Andrew has a child. And parentheses, what's the betting line?
Camber, I think Andrew has 2 children before the Jags win a playoff.
That's disgusting.
Game. No,
that's disgusting.
I think Andrew has 2 kids. Andrew might even have a Vegas wedding in there at some point too.
I elope before the Jags get a playoff win.
You think so? I'd say the Jags are probably 2 years away from a playoff win.
You think I have 2 kids in 2 years? Are you out of your fucking mind?
No, I would say the Jags are definitely going to get that playoff win first. But I'm putting the odds at Jags. I would say it's minus 200. Minus 200.
God, dude, that's scary. Plus minus 200s miss all the time.
We are going to Tallahassee. We're driving a long way to go to Tallahassee this
Country
week.
Bumpkin. How we doing?
Yeah.
Let me go a little bit analytical on you here, Camber. Okay, you look at it this way. We're not getting a playoff win this year. I don't anticipate having a child this year. I'm not going to say the L word. I'm not going to have a child this year. Next year, I don't foresee myself being like cuffed up to the point where I'm ready to have a child in 2025. I don't see myself being cuffed up, ready to have a child in 2026. I maybe see myself, just like looking at the statistics, hopefully, settled down a little bit, maybe engaged or seriously dating in 2027. And I'm thinking 2029, I pop my first kid out. I'd be 28. If the Jags don't have a playoff win by then, I don't know what I'll do with myself. Maybe I won't get married and have kids if the Jags don't have a playoff win. Because why bring a child? Why build a family in a world where the Jags are as hopeless as all else in this world? Yeah. Why do that to my child, Rhino?
In 2029, if the Jags don't have a playoff win, we gotta take our talent somewhere else. We gotta find a new team to podcast about.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't. Oh God,
it hurts to say, and I want
it does.
And then in 2030, when we're no longer fans and boycott the Jags will win the Super Bowl. So,
like, you think I'm gonna put my newborn child in a Jaguar onesie? That's just bad luck. That they're gonna be like they're going to be like a legal midget if I do that. They're not going to grow up past 4'11".
If the
I put them in
Jags
a
can
Jaguar
win a
onesie.
Super Bowl before 2028, I'll name my first kid Jaguar.
If the Jags win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years, I will have a child in November because do the math there, folks. Do the math. Do the math. Jags win a Super Bowl. I've already talked about this on the podcast. The Jacksonville population in greater Jacksonville area, shout out St. Augustine, will expand significantly. I will have a child 9 months after that. Believe that, okay? Believe that. And yeah, I think that's a great place to wrap it up, Rhino.
Yeah.
What a wonderful time tonight. Just back to basics, back to me and you. Talking shit, talking football, depressing topics, very depressing topics, but some fun mixed in as well. Look forward to seeing everyone again next week. And hopefully we'll have some guests on here. Rhino, any closing remarks?
Yeah, no, stay tuned for next week. Andrew and I are making a trip to the homeland, so we'll have some stuff to share for sure. Hopefully.
We're both still legal citizens and, pretty healthy all in all. Where I'm staying right now, one of the occupants supposedly has strep throat right now. So that's great.
Good.
Good. Yeah, good. Good. Jocko, good. We'll leave it there, folks. Igor and Big Head podcast. We're out of here. It's Tuesday night. We're back to regularly scheduled programming. They thought we never would get back to regularly scheduled programming, Rhino. They did not think we would, but we did.
And here we
folks,
are.
Please enjoy this outro music by the one and only Chad Da. Have a wonderful, potentially morning, potentially night. Depends when you're listening or watching. Thank you for being here if you're still here. Bye.